And welcome everybody back to another exciting newbie or guide on how to. Today we're going to go over the combat basics, targeting, weapons, all that kind of jazz. Missiles as well, we'll cover that. But without further ado, let's first of all decide what we're going to do to give us a rough idea of what we're going to be grabbing. So we're going to open up mobiGlas with F1. Come down here to contract manager. All right, come down here to bounty hunter. So now, what you're going to want to have to do, if you're just starting out, you're going to have to do a cert. Like this here, blackjack trial or bounty trial contract. You're going to have to do a certification like that. It'll be called like beginner's tracker's license or something like that. Complete that, and then complete the individual planet certs, you'll be good to go. But for today's sake, what we're going to do, we're going to grab an ERT. We'll just grab an MRT just to make it easy. And so we click our accept offer, and then we also make sure to come down here to mercenary and click call to arms. This here gets us 500 to 1,000 AUEC per kill, even upwards to 2,500 depending on whether it's a bigger ship or not. And yeah, so then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we're accepted and make sure we're tracking our target. And it should show up on your map if you hit F2 and bring it up over here. See, handles last location. So then we're going to set a course for that. And then we'll go from there. So now, for targeting, there's two types of targeting you can do. Actually, three technically. You can cycle friendly, cycle hostile, and cursor. So whatever's under your crosshair, if you hit T, friend or foe, that'll bring it up. It'll lock onto it. And I'll give you all the information you need. Second to that is you can press 5 on your number line, or if you rebind it to something else for your joystick and joystick user, hit 5, and that'll cycle through. Oh, it's on the other side. Okay. We're flying a couple of things here. So if you come down here, if you're using energy repeaters, you'll see 25 of 25. Energy repeaters will recover after you deplete the capacitor. So that's your maximum amount of 20, the maximum you have in the capacitor. So if you have ballistic weapons, you'll have a set ammo count and they will not recover. Next to this, you have your decoy and noise. Decoy are your flares. H is what you use to set that. To get that little number on top, so that'll cluster drop, you right Alt and H the number of times, and in this case, add it 2 more. And noise is your chaff. So as long as the chaff is between you and your opponent, you're good. You don't have to worry about anything. Like you really can't be target locked. If missiles are already on their way towards you, you still have to try and use these to get rid of it. But lastly, press G, brings up our missiles. Actually, no, sorry, middle mouse button. And that'll bring up your missiles. And if you have multiple types, you right click to cycle through them. And you left click when that bar is filled here. That means a missile's prime. We're gonna hit G to bump up our missile count. And then you press your left mouse button to fire it. And so we'll press our middle mouse button again to get rid of it. Okay, and then your left mouse button fires your primary. And then if you had a secondary group, that'd be on this side here. So this is weapon group 0 and weapon group 1. Your right mouse button would then, of course, click that. And then I just played with my power to bump that up, so I got full power to guns, which isn't that big a deal. You can't really see it, but down below here is your shields, and there's also a couple of other different MFDs that you could choose as well. This is your ship status. This will have your hull. If it's red, you're taking damage. You have your overall shields. We go to our MFD here. That's our ship status. We could just go to straight shields. And that shows your shields power on all the different quadrants. The size 1 shields are bubble type, so it doesn't matter where you take damage on your ship. But size 2, you have front and back, and then size 3, you have all 4 quadrants. So all depending on the size, that's what we have to work with. Now, if you want to change your weapons groups, you go to the weapon tab, and then weapons. And you see how these are all weapon group 0. If we want to change it, see, now that's weapon group 1. So weapon group 1, 0, fires 2, and then right click fires the other one. So that way there you could separate distortion and repeaters. You could separate, ballistics and repeaters, whatever, or different types of ballistics, but you can only have 2 weapon groups. And then you got your missiles down here that you have to turn on. Sometimes there are certain bugs that they might not work, but that's where, if they're not firing, you could always check that. But we're going to set back here to this. So then we have our target thing here, which will hopefully, once we arrive at the target, be able to target them far enough away. And then when we target them far enough away, I'll be able to show you what to look for in the target screen. So you get over. Okay, perfect. So you see the red chevron? That means we have our first enemy. So then now what we have here, we have the name. So if there's a player name, it would be there. The ship type. This is size 2 shield, so he's got front and back, and you see the ship profile. You have your range, and then your different detections. So basically, you don't really have to be concerned about this. There is a sub-targeting type, which doesn't work, but that's 8. No, that doesn't work. But there was a time when you could sub-target, like engines, turrets, that kind of thing. But that's not what we're really concerned with. So now, missiles. You see how it says too far? Each of your missiles has a certain range. Actually, before we get back to that, if I want to deselect it, we hit Alt-T. So then that deselects your target, or I could hit T because that's who's underneath my target cursor, and we can go from there. So now when we come in, we're gonna press the middle mouse button, and then once we get within 10 kilometers, we can start to lock on with our missiles. So what you're gonna see is, you see this here? When you have all these little green bars, 2 sets of green bars locked, that means you have the maximum missile lock possible. And then we've already queued up 2, so we're going to left click. They're going to go towards their target. And hopefully do a ton of damage. Perfect. We're going to lob another 2 at them. There we go. Okay, so then we're going to switch to guns. So now there's Pip as well. So you see that the target there, how it's that little box leading there, that is the Pip. Now that is called the lead Pip. That works great on smaller ships. But what you're going to want to do, and if you notice we're just trying to circle around him, that's a bit of an advanced technique, but it's the best way because you're not jousting. And we're trying to avoid his shots. We are side strafing, but ideally when you're in combat, you want to use the pitch. You want to use your pitch and your instead, because most ships pitch better. Distortions too. Blacking out, that's okay. going until they're popped. This is a heavy fighter, so it's not really unheard of that they might take a bit to pop. There we go, so he's dead. So now we're going to hit 5 to select your next target. And red targets are hostile. Blue targets are friendly or player. And white targets are just straight NPC. I don't think he's hitting me. Okay. That is the basics of combat. And you want to keep an eye on your shields. If they have to, if they run low, don't be afraid to deke out and come back. Your target information is all right there, and in the video you saw that, as he was taking damage, things are going red. He's losing wings. Cover the basics of missiles and your basic gun types. And just remember, if you are running ballistics, you have to reload them when they do run out. But anyways, for this recording, thanks a lot, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.